Welcome back to Straight No Chaser. This here is episode 18. We got a very special guest for you today, Stephen Rykola. So, Stephen, he's going to talk a little bit about himself, a little bit about what he's doing right now, his ambitions and his career. And then, as usual, we're going to bring up our regular topics. So, if you want to start off the interview, Jake.
Yep, absolutely. So, Stephen, why don't you tell us what you're studying at Suffolk, what year you are, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah. So I'm a junior business management major with a double minor in entrepreneurship and journalism. And in that scope, I have a concentration in leadership. So it pretty much just focuses all my courses around that.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And you're also in SGA, and you are an RA as well.
Yeah.
Can you maybe expand on what you do for SGA?
Yeah. So in SGA, I'm a senator for the class of 2022. I'm on the Housing and Facilities Committee, and I'm on the special committee for the elections bylaw review. That's within SGA. And as an RA, I'm a resident assistant in 10 Weston Modern Theater, where I am pretty much like helping the residents on the second and third floors.
Nice. And I believe I'm informed on this, but you co-sponsored a resolution pretty recently that the student body has to be notified of any resolution that's being talked about or something along the lines.
So
could you expand on that?
Yeah, what that did I believe it was an amendment to make the anything that had to be voted on within SGA visible to the student body 24 hours in advance of the meeting. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong on little portions of that, but that was pretty much the big gist of what it's about. It just promotes transparency and understanding of what we're going to talk about. So if anybody has any concerns that they need to raise or any questions that they have that they would like to have answered, that's how they'd be able to do it.
Absolutely. And where can students find that? Is there like a website or something that this would be posted up on?
I think it's the Instagram, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's like social media where we release this stuff.
Okay.
I think
like
the most
SU
common
Voice,
used
maybe?
one. No, I wouldn't say SU Voice. That's
Yeah,
just
the
that's
SGA.
like
SGA. Okay.
Yeah, just the
Alrighty.
SGA.
I saw it on there, actually. They had a link and everything.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. And as an RA, what have been your favorite moments, most scary situations, anything along the lines, and favorite experiences?
Right. I mean, I definitely can't talk about the scary experiences. But I think my favorite parts of being an RA, at least this year especially, is really getting to try and interact with people and just, make sure that everybody's doing well and that, if there's anything that I can personally do for them or help them, kind of become connected on campus, in like clubs or activities that they wouldn't, or, find them resources that they might take advantage of, like connect them with CLAS or any of the academic tutors or, any of the departments on campus as well. That's something I always try to do. And I guess, just the big difference I can make is just by constantly offering this help to students, especially now, with this whole COVID pandemic and everything. It's really been challenging for a lot of people, including myself, just kind of keeping like head on a swivel, I feel like every day is just pretty much the same monotony, and talking to people definitely really helps break it up, which is why I keep on trying to have those conversations.
Now, are there other things that students are expected to do now that there's a pandemic going on, like inside the residence halls, and also has your job changed as RA a little bit? Like, do you have less students you have to monitor, or more times you guys meet up, or anything like that?
I mean, I don't know what the sizes were from last year for students to monitor, but I'd say it's relatively similar, at least in my case. But this kind of goes like the same protocols that the entire campus has, or like the Co-Verified app, kind of goes for the residence halls as well. The only difference is you have to show the app to leave the building and not to enter the building. So if you're restricted, they don't want you going out, in public and everything. So that's really the only big difference. And I mean, it's kind of a whole collaborative effort just to kind of maintain, this whole understanding that we're all like in this stuff together. We need to really understand what's going on. And, you know, I think that at this point in time in the semester that we all just kind of have like that community understanding of like the COVID stuff. So there's not really much on my end that I have to do to, you know, maintain that like COVID standard. But I think, you know, on my own tone, really just like talking to the people really helps that, because, you know, it just kind of like the conversations you have just make it feel like more of a community now this year than it ever would. You know, you'd think you'd have to make it, especially because, you know, it's limited contact. You know, sometimes it could be really quiet in the residence halls. You know, you can't have like people bouncing around like crazy like last year. I personally can't have guests in the building, so, you know, like talking to those people, just it definitely makes it feel a lot better. You know.
Absolutely. I definitely get that. And what have you been doing to keep your sanity during the pandemic? I feel like everyone has their own little hack that or enjoyment. What have you been up to besides being an RA, which is obviously taking up so
Yeah.
much time?
I feel like it definitely. I mean, definitely. I've been playing. I'm looking at it right now, but I've definitely been playing Xbox. I feel like
Did you get the Series X?
I haven't yet. I want to.
Yeah.
But I still have my Xbox One. You know, I got that going. But I hope to get the Series X soon. Definitely.
What have you been playing?
Call of Duty. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Okay.
Oh, Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
I've been playing.
I'm not
lately.
a big fan of Cold War, to be honest with you. I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel like the game was rushed.
Agreed. Actually, it has like less content than any other Call of Duty that's ever been released.
But other than that, I've been also going on walks and going to the gym to prepare for the fire department exam. So that's just pretty much what I've been doing, because I have that coming up next week actually. So I got to get, you know, constantly ready for that.
That's exciting.
So what does that exam entail? Or is there like a physical and a written part of the test?
Yeah. So it's a 2-part portion test. There's no pass or fail per se. It's like whatever your score is, you know, is like a combined score. So on the physical you get like X score, and then, you know, another one you get X, and, you know, and then that's what it is. I've been like, I was supposed to have this exam back in March, and, you know, that's when COVID actually hit. So it just kind of cut that all off. So I'm finally having the opportunity to take it now. The only thing that was different was I would have taken the written portion in March, but now I have to take the physical portion first. So I've been going to the gym. Sorry, excuse me. Preparing for the physical, which consists of like your endurance going up and down stairs. You know, finding your way through a room without being able to see anything. Like to simulate like smoke-filled rooms, and just like other obstacles you might come across being a firefighter. So I've been like doing workouts in the gym to really tailor that to the test. You know, just really trying to stay on top of that, because, you know, the more I can do for that test, the better. And then once I take the physical test, it then turns into the written portion. Like I'll get an assigned date for the written portion, and then I'll be able to go then.
That's awesome. Have you been studying with anyone? Have you met any other people who are training to take the test?
I haven't been studying with anyone, but I have this book. It's called Firefighter Prep, and I have this book. So I got these 2 books of things to study from.
Damn, jeez.
So yeah, my dad helped me out with getting these books. It's pretty much like, you know, just practice questions you might see and all that stuff, which is pretty cool.
Are you gonna be you think, like, are you trying to be a firefighter here in Boston, or do you think you're gonna go back to Jersey?
So the test I'm taking is strictly from Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I'm taking it here this year, and then, you know, I'm just playing. Like, it's not like I want to say playing the game, but, you know, I got to see how the field looks when I get my results back.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, you kind of know based off where you're putting on the list if you'll be hired or not. So I just want to, you know, like, you know, see my score, evaluate my options, and then, you know, see what they do from there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that must be exciting, man. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Definitely is something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, you also are affiliated with SU Journal, if I'm not mistaken. You want to go through them?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I feel like I've written at least I've written 2 articles now. So like from time to time, I've written, one last year, one this year. I feel like I'm on a good 1 year article pace. I might contemplate sending another opinion piece in next semester. After everything concludes and we see students return to campus. But I don't know. I just got to think about that first. Think about what I would write about. But last year I wrote a intro to the women's hockey season, and the article I wrote this year was about the university not doing pass fail. It was me and 2 other people that had written the article, and we really just we tried to put together as much fact in the opinion piece as possible. So we kind of try to leave no stones unturned. And I mean, I think the article came out good. It really portrayed how us 3, as well as data shows how students feel about not having the pass fail option. And it was just, I mean, my own personal opinion was that it was disheartening to not see it happen, but at the end of the day, with that, you just got to keep on fighting and doing what you got to do for yourself,
I mean, I actually wanted to get a little bit of your opinion, because in my opinion, the way I answered the survey they sent to me was I thought it was going to be that we were going to have either a range, we were only going to be able to pass fail 1 class, or up to 3 classes, because the options they gave you is I would pass fail everything, or I would pass fail a few. I remember the selections on it, and I think I said I would pass fail probably 2 of the classes, but then they just got rid of the whole thing. And I did think that wasn't what I was expecting to happen. I thought at least we were gonna 1 pass fail. It was surprising to me.
I agree. I feel definitely from a student standpoint myself, I found it disheartening to not have it happen at all, because I feel that would definitely relieve some stress off of my shoulders from academics. I mean, I wouldn't have to worry about getting the difference between a D and a C, or a C and an F. You know what I mean? Just I wouldn't have to worry about thinking, oh, I need to make sure I do all this stuff so I'll pass. With the pass fail system, there was at least a set stone. If you get this grade, you can pass it. If you get this grade, you can't pass it.
Yeah,
So
to me, the only really upsetting part is when there was pushback, the administration didn't really address it much at all. That was kind of the part that
they seemed like they didn't give a fuck.
I think the reasoning maybe behind them this time also, that's part of why I left SGA once again. It's when it comes to serious stuff and the administration knows they want something, that's it. Students can fuck off. But on top of that, it's what?
No, I'm sorry. I mean, I can tell you, I do feel that even with this year, I feel SGA has definitely been very proactive in, constantly, advocating for what the students want. Especially this year with COVID and everything, with the election day, we really kind of pushed nonstop to make sure that election day was considered a holiday and we got students off.
You're on the wrong podcast to be too pro SGA.
I mean, listen, that's just my own personal opinion of this year in itself. So,
well, it's not a dig at SGA. It's more no.
I know that.
Suffolk admin will when something needs to be a certain way, they don't care what the students think.
No, and I mean, the reason why I set that up that way was just because I wanted to make sure I can agree with that to an extent, because we did try hard this year for that, and I mean, I know that some people still aren't giving up with it, but it's just we did a lot to just kind of, make sure that was something that happened, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And that was definitely the biggest blow to it, which is why I can agree with that statement.
Yeah.
At least you guys tried.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you could really do, right? And then also, I feel part of why they won't budge on that is last semester it happened in the middle of the semester, whereas now we all knew we were coming into online courses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also Shaggin Study Blue and all this shit exists. So.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
That's
only a few more weeks to go.
Yeah.
So are you Steve, are you kind of seeing like your path as more a path in business or a path maybe more in something that has to do with like writing, like journalism, or do you see yourself becoming a firefighter just like full time?
I see my path in branches. The fire department thing, I think the one cool aspect of it is that it's 2 days a week. So you're on 2 days for 24 hours. So you do two 24-hour shifts, which gives you 5 other days of the week to do, whatever you want to. Which is partially why I'm in school, because I want to get a degree eventually to own my own business when it comes around. Like I want to be able to own my own restaurant. I know that'll be later down the road, but I really just want to like kind of build a foundation for myself. And with the fire department job, it would definitely allow me to do that. Um, as for the writing portion, I feel like I'm doing the journalism like just because I like purely enjoy it. So like it's
Yeah,
not my
I
major or
feel
anything.
that.
So I'm taking some minor classes just so I can keep up with it. But I don't know. I feel like, no matter what, even with that writing, it could be like, another skill I can add to a job that I try to seek down the road, like to fill up the other 4 days of the business week, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it could definitely be something good for me. Um, I feel like also it definitely helps me strengthen my ability to do research for, like legislation writing. Because eventually, I mean, some point down the line, like I want to be somewhere in politics as well. Which like I said, like my things in branches. But the journalism portion, I think the ability to kind of gather information from journalism would definitely help me a lot with that.
Okay. What kind of restaurant are you trying to open?
I would. So I've gone back and forth with this, but I feel like it would either be like a combination between like British and French foods, like the British and French style foods. Just because
Okay.
I mean I know a B can attest to this, but when we lived together over the summer, I would just watch Gordon Ramsay on my computer all the time.
Yeah. I
So
feel like you kind of
I
got me into Gordon Ramsay, if I'm being honest. Like, I never even watched, like, I watched a bit of Hell's Kitchen before that, but after, like, that summer, I, like, binged, like, 3 seasons of Hell's Kitchen.
I love
yeah,
Hell's Kitchen.
I think I watched all of Hell's Kitchen. I watched all of 24 Hours to Hell and Back. I
You
Yeah.
watch
watched
Kitchen
all of
Nightmares? That's one of my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah. I pretty much watched everything that he has out there except for the Masterclass thing that you have to pay for.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh
have
yeah.
Hulu, so I get all his stuff, but like Masterclass, just don't want to pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
it
Yeah.
called? And I remember when you went to, like, when you would leave and you had, like, a kitchen, you would, like, take pictures of the stuff you made. It looked really good.
Dude, I miss my kitchen.
Yeah.
I miss the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, I
So
definitely do.
yeah, just the last question, not to sound like I'm like curious, like I'm just like so you using like the firefighter thing is kind of like a side, so you can like build yourself up, and then the your main thing you want to do is business with opening the restaurant. So I'm just curious, like you said you want to do work in politics as well. Where does that come in?
I feel like all of my life I've been involved in politics. I feel like
Okay.
I grew up in New Jersey, and I mean like that's not special. That's not special in itself. But
Yeah.
when I'm there, I have definitely made a lot of connections throughout the years, and I want to say my junior and senior year of high school, I was the chairman of the Bergen County Teenage Republicans, and
Okay.
I also helped campaign for Kim Guadagno, the Republican candidate for governor that ran against Phil Murphy. But when I really started doing that, it kind of sparked my, like ambition of, hey, like, this is something that I want to do, like this is really, really cool. Not saying that I want to like run somebody's campaign, but I want to run my own campaign eventually one day, and I'm not sure what
Yeah.
that'll lead me to, but like, I feel like no matter what it is, it'd still be very exciting for me. So that's where the
Yeah.
politics comes in. It's just like a history of me having it around.
Yeah,
Um,
so you're thinking
but
like your main career will be politics, and then maybe later on you're gonna open the restaurant, try and get the.
yeah,
Because no, I feel that.
That's
yeah.
I
awesome.
So
always
like, I
thought that would
wouldn't.
be fun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I think of it, I think of it more as like it's weird for me to think of it this way, but I think of like the fire department job and that like I definitely would put the fire department job as more of a higher priority. than the politics thing, because no matter what, politics can always come at any point in your life.
Yeah, the
Especially in
fires
America,
are always
we've
like
seen that. Yeah.
urgent.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've seen that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that's definitely, both of those things are definitely things I really want to look out for, and like kind of push myself to get to.
Would you be more interested in trying to run for like a local town position or like maybe a state position? What would be more interesting to you? Or
So
maybe
I
you start
feel
as
like,
town.
yeah. So I have a couple different opinions on this. I mean, I feel like I feel like I wouldn't want to like just jump into a state position, but I definitely want to get to a state position down the road. Like I know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Corey Baker at all, but he started off as the mayor of
Yeah.
Newark,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
now
Cory
he's a state
Booker, yeah.
senator. So I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm taking his example, but like, like that kind of move, like going from, like maybe like a mayor
Yeah.
to senator or something, and then see where else it takes you, because like this man's ran for president. He ran for president. So
Yeah,
I mean, like,
Did
if
Chris
anybody
Christie ever
you
run
could-
for president? Actually, you should know. You're from Jersey.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
Chris
did.
Christie
He did.
ran.
He was in
Yeah.
against Trump, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. Endorsed Trump, yeah.
After Trump shit on him.
Yeah, I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Chris Christie's the look on his face after he endorsed Trump, standing behind him at the podium. He's like, "I just got fucking shat on, and I still lost."
He also didn't even get a job at the end of all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he didn't get a position. That's what like the main thing he wanted. He didn't get a position. Isn't Bob Menendez? He's a senator, right, from New Jersey?
Yeah, he's a senator out of North Bergen.
Yeah, I know him. I'm actually a fan of his. I don't know if you are.
I have varying opinions.
I don't know what he's done for the state. He just like some of the stuff he's done as far as like on a nationwide scale. I'm a fan of.
Steven,
But,
who do you take a little bit of your inspiration from in the political arena? Who do you follow and like enjoy?
I mean, so the reason why I like originally got involved definitely had a lot to do with my grandfather. He
Okay.
was definitely he ran for a local office a couple times. I'm not sure if he won, but I definitely know he ran a couple times, and I mean, just seeing him do that stuff was pretty cool, and I was like, well, hell, like, if he can do that, so can I, and that's kind of where that originated from. But I feel like today, like, I mean, like, no matter where you look for, like political inspiration, everything is always just like crazy polarized. So I try to make sure that, like I'm like reflecting on accurate sources. But I feel like
Yeah.
somebody that I always constantly look at is definitely like, I know she's not like a politician, but I definitely look at Candace Owens.
Okay,
I really like Candace Owens a lot, to be honest with you. So like, I mean, I kind of just see her going out and talking, and I just like, I just like how she like asserts the, like, we don't need to stay in line with everything, like we can be outspoken, like we can say what we want, and represent ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's like that part of the message is something that I kind of like.
Absolutely.
But also, I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's hard to just kind of pick, and I mean, like, I know I could just list off.
I'm just
people
hoping
in
you say
history.
Rand Paul because I love Rand Paul. at least like
never-
because I'm a libertarian. Like
Right.
I don't really love either side, to be quite honest.
Vote
with
Gary
you, but
Johnson.
There's elements of both that I like.
You know what I was actually gonna say though? I like what you said about like not having. You can like stand out. You don't always have to like be in line with like your party, for example, because like I just said, I might like Bob Menendez's like foreign policy, but like on gun control, like I disagree with him. I disagree with him on like his economic policy. Like I hate it when like the fact that our country's so divided right now, where it's like everything you have to do has to be in line with your party. Like
I also
there's
hate
free
that there's
thought
no
in that.
compromise. They like there used to be this idea where like the other party was an adversary, but you respect them and you try and reach compromise on issues where you agree. Now it's literally so polarized that you see them
Yeah.
essentially as
Yeah.
like mortal enemies.
It's like one issue will
insane.
set them off.
Yeah, it's like I feel like our media conglomerates like converging into just like smaller and smaller numbers really contributes to that as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you though, Jake, I mean, when you mentioned Rand Paul, I really genuinely don't think of Rand Paul often. It's not that
Really,
I
I
don't
love
hate.
Rand Paul.
It's not that I
At
hate him.
least
I just don't think of him very
uh,
often. You know,
I
like
take
Yeah.
a
he's
little
not
bit
the
of
first person
inspiration
off
all
my
over
head.
the spectrum. At least, like from the Democrats, I like Tulsi and Yang, and then from the Republicans, I like Rand Paul a lot.
And
Yeah.
John Kasich,
I
I would
like
say
Used to like
Kasich.
Kasich's not even really a Republican though. He's kind of he left the party.
But he is though, or he was.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is
He's
he in
not.
the independent now?
I think he is because he went and spoke at the DNC like this last convention.
Kasich's
Which
cool. I
yeah.
fuck with Kasich.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
Why
All
don't
right,
you use
who
your
wants to go?
campaign slogan? Is the politics come later, the fire is now. Say that. The fire is urgent because you can play up the fact that you were a firefighter to get votes. I'm just saying.
This is true.
Because people will fuck with that. They
True.
respect, bro. That job, like honestly, that kind of fuck with that job. Like that job really is like a badass job. Like
Yeah, that
I always
is
thought it'd be
really
sick to be a
cool.
firefighter.
That's so true.
Like
The thing is,
way
you're
fucking cooler
you're
than
universally
cops or
loved
paramedics.
too. You're
Yeah.
universally loved by everyone. That's what's so
I'm
great.
saying
Yeah,
it's not like the
that's
cops or
You're saving
paramedics where it's
people.
like people are like like the firefighters are like they're badass. Like that's a sick job. You literally risk your life to help other people.
This is true.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking of someone getting pissed at like paramedics showing up and they're thinking about the bill of the ambulance.
Yeah, see, paramedics get some shit too.
Oh
but-
man.
Well, speaking of saving your life, Jake, want to talk about guns?
Sure. So, the
Protecting your life, I meant to
NRA
say.
has come under fire for spending way too much that it's been taking in. So there have been senior staff officials that have been using money to go on vacations to Las Vegas and spending money in casinos. This has all come after the CEO has come under fire for allocating funds poorly, not putting enough towards lobbying efforts enough in Boston. A former board member, Alan West, spoke out. On Tuesday, he announced that he called for LaPierre, who is the CEO of the NRA's resignation, calling it imperative that the NRA cleans its own house. So the NRA was initially set up in the 1870s, and actually Abi posted a video on Instagram that goes deep into the history and the current political climate of the NRA. It was set up as a like non-political organization teaching Americans how to use weapons after the Civil War, and it didn't have any connotation besides just teaching Americans how to shoot guns and
It was about
properly handle
safety
it.
too, right?
It
Guns,
was.
yeah, properly handled.
Exactly. And you saw for the first century it was around. There was no politicalization around having a firearm. But I think it was initially in the 70s, you saw PACs coming around political candidates trying to promote more pro-gun candidates. And then in the 80s, it really picked up under when Reagan was president. And then now you see that they've been like endorsing candidates. Like in 2016 it was Trump. In 2020 I don't know if they endorsed, but it was probably for Trump. But it, like, to me, I think what's damaged the NRA, in addition to the fact that they've kind of abused donor money, is the fact that they've tried to. The thing I think I would have loved about being part of the historic NRA is that all they taught was Americans and how to use firearms, where they weren't politically charged. And I think like that's way more unifying. If you can get it to try and be like a nonpartisan issue, to just try and be pro-gun, that's the way better doing it than like endorsing and becoming like a partisan cause where people
And the
just
lobbying,
alienate you
too.
just because you're not like in agreement, because you, like, say a Democrat who's pro-gun sees like the NRA and they see like them endorse Trump. Does that make them a little bit less hesitant to join up and give them their membership? I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. It was just interesting to see like the whole history of the NRA and then see how now they're internally in turmoil. And I'm also going to give a shout out to the GOA, which is Gun Owners of America. They have an Instagram page if anyone wants to check it out. But my brother and I are memberships, and they put a lot into lobbying efforts in Washington and just trying to make sure that gun lobby stays strong and that legislation only protects your Second Amendment rights, which I'm in full support of, because I might not like care for the whole like getting into Washington and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
I feel like it does matter that you have your Second Amendment rights. I'm also like pro drug and a bunch of other stuff, but I mean I really do care about the Second Amendment. Interesting. What do you guys think about it? I can get into the numbers after, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with some of that. I know. I definitely agree with a little bit of it, because I think it should, like, issues like the Second Amendment, which is written into our Constitution, in my opinion, should not be politicized. Like, that's one of the fundamental rights we get as an American. Like that, like, it shouldn't matter which side of
It
the.
also bothers me it's become under attack so much because it's a constitutional right to bear arms. So if
Yeah,
you think about it, it
exactly.
should be a nonpartisan issue that everyone.
And they think just because people own guns, there'll be like a higher rate of mass shootings, and that's just not the case. There's plenty of other countries where a lot of people own guns, such as Switzerland. There's no mass shootings. Like, it has to do with many other things, like societal issues, and so that's one of the things. Like, I think it should. I think that's actually like a really smart thing for the NRA to like go back to their roots and teach people how to safely handle firearms and safely use firearms, because that gun safety is one of the first steps to preventing gun violence. So
Yeah.
I think if they went back to their roots, and as far as their lobbying for candidates, I'm not always a fan, because they kind of always give money just to people who like basically agree with their ideology. That's where I think the NRA kind of went too kind of out of too far gone, sort of. But like yeah, if they can go back to their roots and kind of be like an educational force in our society, I would support that.
It's actually the largest lobbying group in Boston, or sorry, in Washington. So I don't know. And it said right here that that top officials inside the NRA wasted $1.4 million of donated money from its membership. So so they're starting to decline in membership, and this was in 2017 this happened, so it's been declining since then.
I find it
They've lost
ironic
hundreds of
that
thousands.
they're a non-profit organization.
They have very nice buildings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the GOA. I think it's a good alternative because I don't care for the way the NRA has kind of gone. I feel like
No, the NRA
function
has failed. Like it's failed in its mission. I think
the function
of its purpose
of a organization that's supposed to be pro-gun is literally just teaching people how to use them safely.
I'm not anti-gun. I just think the NRA is fucking stupid. Like
no, you're right. If they stayed with teaching gun safety, I said like safety with firearms, and teaching kids how to safely handle the situation where there's a firearm is like the first step to gun safety.
Yeah,
not banning
they've turned
guns.
into this like super political lobbying group.
Yeah,
If they had never gone political, it'd be interesting to see how much more Americans would love guns. I feel like broadly, like
but
every
you know what
every
they
American.
wouldn't have liked? How much less money they could have stuffed their pockets with.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem in and of itself. And now you see like what scumbags are at the top of the NRA, because it's a non-profit that just collects money through donations. So like their whole business model is taking donations from other people. Like it's not like they provide really a service besides just lobbying to Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like their leader, Wayne LaPierre, he's very.
Whereas it used to be about gun safety. Like imagine if the NRA like sponsored nationwide gun safety training courses, like all over the country in every town.
It probably wouldn't be as controversial.
It wouldn't be. I don't know.
Steve, what's your opinion on the NRA and guns safety and gun rights in America?
So, I mean, are y'all familiar with Shark Tank?
Yeah.
So, do you know how Mark Cuban kind of just sits back and listens a little bit and then talks after everybody's done? So, like, I've been sitting back and listening because I've been listening to all this stuff. I personally, like, I agree with aspects of all of this because, like, you know, like, I don't think the NRA should be, you know, politically charged because, you know, taking endorsements and, like, endorsing candidates and stuff. You know, I mean, in reality, it's designed to protect, you know, the Second Amendment and everything. But I feel like I can agree where I said it's gotten too far to a certain extent. But I feel like, you know, I mean, the first thing that popped in my head, like the counter argument to that was if they didn't become too politically polarized, you know, in endorsing candidates, I feel like maybe they might be more in jeopardy than they would have like previously. Especially like in America today with how polarized the Second Amendment has become. With like all like the mass shootings and everything that have taken place. Like all that's definitely horrible. Like, and nobody should have to lose their life just for going out and living every day. But I feel like if they didn't take a stance on endorsing a candidate, then with like given how harshly the Second Amendment is viewed today, it might not be in existence. It might. Yeah. So that's just my thought on it.
To me, the crazy thing though is how politicized everything becomes, because like I feel like 20 years ago, even just 20 years ago, the Second Amendment was not as polarizing as it is today. Like it's become like one of the most polarizing issues, which makes like no sense to me.
The fact that a fucking pandemic is politicized.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting. I really like the video you posted.
I was gonna say the fact that a pandemic is politicized says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything. Yeah. Everything can become a debate, and it's
ridiculous.
It's not healthy for the society, honestly.
This is true. I mean, I definitely feel like, though, honestly, like I mean, like when I think about it and like the reality of what we're living in, I definitely feel like if the NRA didn't, like jump into endorsing candidates, then I feel like it would have been much easier for a candidate to come in and repeal the Second Amendment or like replace it with something different. So
the only counter argument I can think of that is if it wasn't politically charged, you'd have more people supporting the organization from both sides of the aisle. So it might be harder. You'd have moderate Democrats supporting gun rights as well as Republicans.
So I mean, I don't want to keep on butting your head with it either, because I mean I agree with that, but let's take it in context of like let's just say Trump versus Biden, like say Biden got in office and he repealed the Second Amendment, like if the NRA could endorse a candidate and take their donations and just shove them one way to make sure that
tell you one thing,
taken away.
If he's taking guns away, he can
no. I was just using their names I was just using their names as like place fillers.
I'd say like the NRA really kind of did do that all the way up until like mid 2000, like early 2000s. Then they started getting a little fucking wacky.
Let's be real. The government's gonna have a really easy time trying to rip guns away from, law-abiding gun owners, because they're not gonna, put up a stand.
That's the thing, dude. Honestly, I don't think any fucking presidential candidate ever is gonna repeal the Second Amendment, because the vast majority of the country, like Democrats and moderates, they all support the Second Amendment. Yeah, but I'm saying, I was gonna finish with most people support the Second Amendment. Most people are fine with the Second Amendment. They just want a few reforms with how easy it is to buy a gun. That's the main thing with the majority of the population. No one's gonna want to repeal that. No one's gonna want to repeal. Yeah, there's maybe a few radicals, but that's with any issue pretty much that you get.
I see people that are out there saying that they want to ban certain types of guns and stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? I like the Second Amendment, and I know personally I'm never gonna go out and do harm with a gun if I ever should own one.
Yeah.
So if I want to own an AR-15 or an M1 Garand or something, I want to get one. I don't want anybody to come up and tell me I can't have one.
The time to get them is now too, because you can still legally own one even if they were to repeal them. It's always the time to buy guns. There's literally these scares. Back in 2012 after Sandy Hook, there was talks that there was going to be this comprehensive gun control legislation that was going to be passed. Gun sales skyrocket. 2020. Pandemic happens. Everyone's not sure how scary society is going to become, and how denigrated everyone's going to get. Gun sales skyrocket again. It always goes through these cycles where guns just fly off the shelf every time things get uncertain.
No, it's true. I mean, I was gonna say, there's definitely been an issue in our country with mass shootings. It's clear, but to say that people owning guns entirely and banning certain type of guns is the answer is just silly, because If you look at there's so many other countries around the world that have strict gun laws, and there's still people making homemade bombs. There's still people like you're driving your car, you can just hit people on the side of the road. Like, and then they should ban certain types of cars or something. Like the issue has to do with teaching gun safety, like the NRA
Yes,
used
gun
to be.
safety is the big. The
Gun
thing is,
safety,
anyone
and
who grew up
also I
around
was gonna say,
guns,
also a
anyone who
little bit of
grew up,
yeah.
or sorry, anyone who grew up around guns knows this. Like, you don't like people act like everyone's careless with guns, like people on like the far left, I should say. But gun safety is like taught to people who are around guns at such a young age. Like, I used to go out hunting at like 10 or 11 with my grandfather, and like before we went, I spent like 2 or 3 weeks out in the fields with him, just learning how to handle a gun. It's not like people take it lightly.
Yeah.
You make sure that there's a foundational education before
Well,
you take.
I don't think like that's the issue when it comes to like school shootings and
Yeah,
like,
it's not the
crowd
only
shootings.
issue.
The issue
No,
is
I was gonna finish.
these guys are really easily able to acquire weapons when there should be
Yeah.
some things in place that stop that weapon getting into their hand.
No, I agree with that a little bit. That I think there should be that still has to a little bit do with the gun safety because there should be more. You shouldn't just be able. Not anyone should just be able to buy a gun off the shelf with having no prior experience. I personally think that like the fact that we teach drivers that for driving a car.
You guys are
people
authoritarians.
No,
I think
we
that-
should
I
have
think the
background
fact that-
checks. We should
Yeah,
have
we should
fucking
have lessons on
background
how to
checks.
fucking use
That's
the
like-
thing you're gonna buy. Is what
Background
I'm
checks
saying.
are fine
Like-
in my book.
Yeah,
You should be
have-
required to maybe take a training class.
Yeah,
That's
you
fair.
should be required to take
Yeah.
a lesson on the thing you buy, like a fucking car. Like I think that's not a lot to ask, and that would solve
But
probably.
no waiting period.
Why?
I think there's literally a 1 day waiting period in New Hampshire. Like, my grandma bought a 22 and she got it like 6 hours later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And we were
No,
shooting the same day.
it's not even the way. Yeah, see, the thing is, I just think it should be for like randos who just walk up there who have no experience with the gun. Like, if you have prior experience, you should be able to just buy a gun. But if you have no experience with a gun, it should be like driving a car. You should be able to take an educational like course on how to use it. That I think that is, and background checks to make sure you don't have like a violent criminal record. Not even like a civil
like
crime.
if you
Like,
stole
that guy-
mail, you should be able
Yeah.
to own a gun. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like the fact
No, you
that there
shouldn't.
was
That's
that-
a federal offense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who the hell steals mail? There's like that
I
one
think
guy
it's
out
probably
there.
a shockingly high number, honestly.
We've been accused. Me and Avi have been accused of stealing mail.
Yeah.
Really?
By our downstairs neighbor.
Yeah,
Wow.
isn't that crazy?
They really
The
don't
neighbor
like
doesn't
you, huh?
like you, huh?
Yeah, I know, for
It's the
real.
same thing.
We thought so.
She
Shared a
tried to
beer
be
with them.
nice while she accused us of being thieves as well. Being thieves.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Does anyone on the call have a gun? Like, not on them, obviously, but like, do they have one? Do they own one in general?
I do not.
I don't live in Mass.
Yeah. I
Oh.
own one. It's back up in New Hampshire, but it's a 16 gauge that my dad gifted to me. And then,
Wait,
we
did you
have
say you
tons,
did or
though.
didn't, Steve?
No, I do not. I do not.
Okay.
But Jake's just in the
Oh,
chat.
we have tons though. Like, let me go through this. My dad, I think, has 3 12 gauges. My brother Troy has an AR, and he's got 9mm. My dad has a 357. What else? I think he has 222 long rifles. There's like this is a stash. There's a stash.
You got an armory, dude.
Yeah, that's why like being pro Second Amendment. I feel like it's just your constitutional right, really. It's to protect you against a tyrannical government. That's what it was set up for, and I think the
Yeah,
sentiment should still be there to some degree. But yes, you should have
Sentiment
background
can be
check.
there. I mean, I think guns, if you know how to use them, can help in terms of safety. But like, if the government, if there's a tyrannical president and he unleashes the U.S. military on you, your fucking AR isn't gonna do shit.
Let's also be
Like,
real. If
Your
a
AR will
tyrannical
be like
if a tyrannical
fucking,
president
like, pea shooter.
if a tyrannical president unleashes the U.S. military against U.S. civilians, is the U.S. military actually going to open fire on civilians?
Probably
I don't think
not.
so.
I mean, I have a
Who
lot of
knows?
faith in our military. The
I
cops
hope
might,
so.
though. The fucking cops would.
Who knows?
I think some cops. I think some cops definitely would.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but I'm just saying, like, if it
trust
were
the
to
military.
happen, like, our couple of guns, or even as many guns as, like, you guys have, like, that's like a military operation, it's not gonna stop that. You know.
No.
Yeah, no,
You're
not gonna
not
stop
gonna
it.
get past the
Only thing that
Secret
would help us is the
Service.
308 and the AR. It's not really that easy because you'd have
If you have a
you'd be able to
bazooka,
have
because then you can shoot the tank. Government
so an
tank.
RPG on like your roof.
Let me
Yeah.
just buy a
Dude.
rocket-propelled grenade, bro.
Bro, you guys remember that guy on?
Around.
You remember that guy on YouTube, FPS Russia, who's really this dude in
Yeah,
Georgia?
Yeah.
I watch his
Kyle.
podcast.
Yeah.
That guy had, yeah, Kyle Myers, dude. That guy had an insane amount of shit that was legally owned. Like, he had a
Yeah.
tank, he had RPGs, he had like an AA-12 automatic
Yeah, he had like a
shotgun.
Dude,
manufacturing
get this.
license.
Get this, dude.
Yeah.
The government, the ATF, stole $400,000 worth of weapons from him because he was caught receiving THC. I think it was like dab oil through the postal service. So they
Wait.
caught him receiving, and they got him on intent to distribute because he sent a text message to his girlfriend asking if she wanted to come over and smoke with him. So they got him on
He was
intent
trying to get high, so they stole his
Georgia.
gun.
Yeah.
So they
So they
took
stole-
$400,000 worth of
Because
guns
marijuana is
What
a
the
Schedule
fuck?
1 drug. That's a federal
in
offense.
Georgia.
See, that's my thing.
No,
You
it's-
can't
it's
not
American
have, yeah.
South.
It was the
In
federal
my
government
opinion,
that got
you
him.
have to have guns and drugs. You have to have both. You can't just have one.
You know,
I would
that-
abolish the ATF. It's the most useless government agency that is in
Well-
operation, probably.
I found this interesting. I mean, I just kind of learned this like yesterday. I was talking to somebody, and apparently, you know, like you can own like a Civil War era Gatling gun, and it could just it wouldn't have to be registered as a gun.
Really?
It's
This is
historic.
So outdated.
No,
It's a
it's
historic
historic. No, seriously, it's called an
Artifact.
antique. It's called an antique. So like, he was telling me, he was like, I was watching a video and this guy literally mounted the Gatling gun to his truck and he was just driving around with the Gatling gun on the truck, just shooting like cars in like a scrapyard. And I was like, yo, that's pretty cool. Like, I kind of want a Gatling gun now.
Is a musket
kinda want
considered
one,
an
too.
antique too? Like a musket with a bayonet.
They're probably like wicked expensive nowadays if they're actual Civil War era stuff.
Yeah.
Probably.
Best gun to own. Home
Not though,
defense. Home defense is probably just a 12 gauge.
12 gauge.
12
I want a
gauge.
12 gauge.
Yeah. Most practical firearm to own probably is just a 12 gauge. I guess you could argue maybe a 308, but that's more for distance anyway. And pistols are super impractical. First time like gun owners, I would just tell them to get a 12 gauge because the thing is
They
like with
shouldn't
a
get a
pistol, it's too easy to move. So like the rotation is too easy, so it's more easy to self-injure.
Yeah, I would
So
say
I
if you
just-
don't have experience, you're gonna fuck yourself with a pistol.
Yeah. So usually
You have a
12
shotgun, you just have a wider range of attack.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean, like, just
And the
wider.
other thing is, if someone's like intruding into your home and you have a 12 gauge, all you have to do is shoot in their direction with birdshot, and you're gonna hit them.
That
Yeah,
made, you know
yeah,
what that
legit.
made me. I feel like I did have this conversation with somebody. It was about like shotguns because we were talking about home defense, and I was like, well, I mean like I was looking it up, and I believe that during World War II, Germany was like protesting the United States' use of shotguns in trench warfare. And the U.S. was like, "We're not listening to you. Like, who do you think you are?" Like, they just brought shotguns into the party and were just going crazy with it.
That's awesome.
I think their
Fucking
protest was
hilarious.
on mass damage. Like
Yeah.
That's
I'd say-
shotguns tear anything in their path.
Yeah.
I love shotguns.
Probably an Uzi would be the worst gun for a like first time gun
Oh
owner.
yeah,
though.
Uzi's a nightmare.
Because that's like small and it's fucking crazy. It's like rapid
Honestly,
fire.
I think a revolver. I know Abby and I were talking about this. A revolver might be one of the worst for
I
a
feel
first
like
time.
revolvers
That's
are
got a
so
lot of kickback.
impractical. Like
Yeah.
not only
They-
that,
like,
they're like you can experience so many issues with them, and they're like super high maintenance. You gotta like
The other thing to me is the caliber is so high on them that for first time gun owners they make 0 sense because you're gonna get
Yeah.
blown on your fucking ass or like hit your
Yeah.
face with the gun because you don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
I mean, revolvers might be like cool and fun, but like, why not just get like a 45? It's way more
Yeah.
practical.
That's big
9
money.
mil. If you're getting a pistol, it'd be a 9 mil.
Yeah.
9 mil's like the
Yeah,
gun.
no, I agree with
Yeah.
that, Jake. Mike Tyson just fought. Mike Tyson just fought on Saturday against Roy Jones Jr. And so this was Tyson's first fight in since 2006, I believe, or no, 2005 rather. And yeah, so he's about 50. He's 54 years old right now, and this was kind of crazy because a lot of people. I mean, obviously Mike Tyson has his reputation as being one of the greatest boxers and one of the hardest hitters of all time.
And
But a
being
lot of people,
53,
54.
54, same thing.
A lot of people didn't expect him. A lot of people didn't expect him to get back into this. And I remember like a couple months ago watching videos on his Instagram of him training and doing like mitt workout and heavy bag workout. And I was like, well, what is this all about? Is he getting back into it? And then he announces he's gonna fight again. And I thought the fight actually was pretty good. I enjoyed the fight. Fight was it was pretty. I'd say the only thing I really didn't like about it is like the outcome because they basically said that they said it was a draw, and I think Tyson clearly won.
Yeah,
Like
look,
Yeah.
Tyson got more hits on, and Roy Jones was on defense way more than Tyson was. He went into defensive positions, like grabbing a hold around Tyson a lot more than Tyson would do.
yeah,
But
plus with
I don't know.
yeah,
To me, it was
I mean,
obvious.
I feel like my personal take on it was I agree. Like I feel like Tyson won. You know, like just watching the amount of shots he was hitting, and then just like the blows that followed the shots. But I mean, like I feel like that whole night. I mean, like I feel like it was a lot of anticipation built up to the Mike Tyson fight just for it to end in the draw, and it just kind of killed the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
Where I was sitting there saying I thought the only good fight was the first fight of the night, like the first bout. Like I don't know who the two people were, but they were going at it the entire time.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I don't know who they were, but
It
first,
actually,
it was like
this is what bothers me about recent boxing, though. Like with McGregor and Mayweather, and then Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. It's just literally like hype fights. No, like to
Yeah.
me, did anyone really want to see either one of those fights? It's just
Well, I mean,
trying to grab
Jones
money back.
is old
through
too.
pay-per-view.
Well, I mean,
Jones Jones is 51.
There was a really
Jones
good
is 51.
There was a
No, I
really
was gonna
good
say
fight with Terrence Crawford like a month
Okay.
ago, or like not
Yeah.
even.
No,
I mean, I
I
tuned
watched
in-
that one.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you go ahead. No,
I
go
feel like
ahead.
people only pay attention to boxing though now. Like mainstream like media only pays attention to boxing when it's like a meme fight at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what bothers me.
yeah.
a meme like Jake
The
Paul
last,
versus
like-
Nate Robinson.
the last,
it's
like,
such a
big-
literally all-
The
disrespect
last
to the
big
sport.
fight I
Yeah.
can remember that
Yeah.
wasn't an actual meme was Mayweather Pacquiao. That was like the
that
last
was a good
fight
fucking
that got
fight.
actual hype that should
Well,
have
it was
gotten
an
hype.
okay fight, but
I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty good.
it deserved
Honestly,
the hype just because like
Yeah.
those two were like amazing. Like
Tyson Fury and what's his name?
Deontay
Tyson
Wilder.
Fury and Deontay Wilder. That was a good
actually,
fight.
that
That
was
wasn't a hype fight.
Yeah.
Dude, the thing is, the best boxers now are like British, in my opinion. Like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, like some of the best fight, and also a lot of the young American
Canelo and
fighters.
Triple G was a really good fight.
Yeah. A lot of the young American fighters, like I think it's just because the big names get the views, but there's still good fighters out there. There's still good boxing matches out there. Like if you look on the
Yeah, there
undercard,
are.
like the one Steve was saying, like the first fight, I forget their names as well, but that was also a good fight. And like the thing is with Jones and Tyson, like Jones is 51, Tyson's 54. Like they're both like they have these big names. It
How
was
these old
kind of like a thing.
motherfuckers last 12 rounds in a boxing
Yeah, that's
ring.
what's crazy. That's what's
pretty
crazy.
wild.
It's like it's kind of it just shows you like how much fucking effort they put into it throughout their life, and it shows you kind of that they still have it. So it's sort of more like a statement more than really like an actual like meaningful fight. But I think that's partly why it was a draw because people like obviously like Tyson's a huge name, but so is Jones, and people just didn't really want to like say one of them won, and specifically I think most people think Tyson won. People didn't
Yeah.
want to say Tyson would one just because they wanted to keep some respect on Jones's name, and it was kind of more to make a statement to show that these guys can still fight rather than like.
That's why I thought like that. I genuinely like once they announced it as a tie, I thought that was the whole purpose of the night. You know, like throw a bunch of money into betting pools. You know, get these people to literally just like get the pay-per-view for the night for Triller. You know, and then just call it a tie. Like that's what turned me off so much though too, because like I really only kind of tuned in. Like I streamed it online somewhere, but I streamed it to watch Jake Paul and Nate Robinson because I just wanted to see Nate Robinson knock Jake Paul out.
And then he gets knocked out in the second fucking round.
Folded. This dude literally went and he just zipped right into the ground.
Yeah.
Bro, no, I know what you mean by that. Like, honestly, I think fucking Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder was a way higher quality fight than any of that shit. Like
yeah, isn't that a meme though? Like Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson. That's another meme fight.
That just shows. No, I know what you mean. Boxing's kind of losing its fucking like reputable integrity, and I'm scared it's like moving towards like WWE type shit.
Yeah,
what really
bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
the only
what
thing
the fuck, Jake Paul? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I know. He's a YouTuber.
And then fucking an ex-NBA player, like a New York Knicks player, is fucking coming out of retirement. He's like, I'm a boxer now. Like, what?
I mean,
what is that shit? Where does he get his experience?
This reminds me of like what's that Barstools like when they go and it's like
Rough and Rowdy.
Rough and Rowdy, dude. This is like what the YouTube boxing scene is like.
That's literally what it is.
It was just. I feel like. Did you listen to the song that Jake Paul walked out to?
Yeah.
I thought that was. I mean, like to Nate Robinson, I was like, yo, that's mad disrespectful. You got to pop his head. Like he literally just walked out to the whole like NBA 2K11 soundtrack. He was like, nah.
Yeah. He's fucking Yeah, I wanted Nate Robinson to win. I mean, I also think he's kind of corny too. I mean, I respect him as a basketball player. Even though he played for the Knicks, he still did play for the Celtics for a season, so I gotta fuck with him a little bit. But still, like, I wanted him to beat the shit out of Jake Paul just because, like, that guy, the last thing he needs is a boost to his ego. So.
All right,
bro, you hear he said he wanted to fight Conor McGregor? He was like, I'm coming for Conor McGregor.
You know what?
You would get
he's
pulled.
retarded.
Like,
he's an idiot. You know what's funny is Conor McGregor's training partner Dylan Dennis. He's like, I'll fuck Jake Paul up any day. He literally has like been chirping Jake Paul online all the time. It's like that's the thing though. It's like so much of this shit is just become so like just like dramatized.
Like let me see if I can show you this real quick. I think this is kind of hilarious. How do I?
Jake Paul has no credentials to be a boxer, like none.
No.
Look at this. Look at this. It's Paul versus McGregor. Jake Paul posted this thing. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Bro, McGregor would put him in the hospital.
Yeah, literally, dude. He's getting in the.
Here it is.
He's getting in the ring with the wrong dude.
Yeah, Dylan Dennis. Dylan Dennis is that could actually be a potential fight. And I still think Dylan Dennis would fuck him up, even though Dylan Dennis. He has a big mouth himself, though. He was saying like John Jones is a bitch and like all this shit on Instagram.
Dude, John Jones is the best fighter in the UFC, hands down.
He's like John Jones is a bitch.
Actually, I feel like Khabib is right there too.
Khabib is insane.
Dude, Khabib's insane, and so is John Jones. Dude, I'm like honestly, I feel
like
Conor's
what's his
kind
name?
of a
George something.
Now. Conor low key pisses me off.
Who am I
now.
thinking of?
I don't like Conor that much. Oh, George St. Pierre.
Yeah, George St.
Pierre's up there.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's one of the all-time greats too.
Like, for the reason that Conor McGregor pisses people off, that's just why I love him. Like it's just hilarious to watch.
I did love him when he was winning. I loved him when he was winning. I started to hate him when he left the UFC to go box. That's when I actually started to not really care for him as much.
Yeah.
Because it was a money grab. It was like he could have stayed at the top. He was holding 2 division titles when he left the UFC to go box.
I mean, I feel like he'll take him back if he ever jumps back into it. Honestly,
he has jumped back in. He won against Cowboy after he came back, and I think he's training right now to fight someone. I don't know who he's trying to fight.
He's like always like, oh, I'm gonna retire. Oh no, I'm coming back. He's like Brett Favre in the NFL. He's like, oh, I'm coming back. Just kidding. Like he said he was gonna retire like before.
I still love Conor.
Before
I loved him more.
No, I fuck with Conor.
I
I've
just
heard
loved
with
him a lot.
Connor's whole like life story, how he was like a fucking like plumber, carpenter, some shit. He's like working. He's like, I'm gonna get into MMA, and he's like the biggest MMA fighter to come out of Ireland now.
Yeah. Dude, his Nate Diaz fights are actually some of my favorite to rewatch. Dude, him and Nate Diaz fucked each other up. I love those fights.
True. This is true.
Yeah. So yeah, also though in the sports world, there's some bad news. So I don't know how much you guys follow soccer, but Diego Maradona recently passed away. He's arguably one of the best players of all time. I'd put him up there with like Pele, the first Ronaldo phenomenal. I'd put him up there with like Müller, Cruyff, like all these other great players. Messi could be on that list as well, a little further down, but I'd put him up there. Ronaldinho, I'd put him up there with all those players. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He changed the way the game is played in the sense that he was like, he literally added new kind of techniques and new moves. Like there's a move called the Maradona where you kind of you rotate on the ball a little bit. There's several other things. I mean, I wasn't old enough to watch him play because he was playing mainly in the 80s and 90s, but yeah. So basically I didn't get to see him like during his peak, but he like watching videos of him I was like, what the fuck? This guy literally moves like crazy. Like his like passing and ball control and his dribbling. It's just like he literally is like he's wicked fast and he like it just flows.
I watched highlights of him too, actually, and it was crazy to see. He honestly looks like he's a generation ahead of the people he's playing with. Like the way he moves the ball, he like can take on 4 defenders and make them all miss simultaneously and get the ball through them to a teammate. It's fucking wild.
He's arguably one of the best dribblers of all time, and like I said, his control is insane. He just like flows through everything. And like he's just like I said, like I wasn't able to watch him in his prime, but just like I said, growing up, I learned how to do the Maradona. Like that's one of the like best like kind of moves you can use to trip up a defender. That's like what he was known for. He just put the defender on their ass. Like it was insane. And he was like he's considered Argentina alongside Messi now probably. He's considered Argentina's greatest player of all time, and he's considered to be one of the best midfielders, like attacking midfielders of all time. And he also brought Napoli when he was playing for Napoli in Italy. He brought them from like a smaller club status to like one of the biggest clubs in the country. So basically, yeah, the whole world kind of was mourning his death, and it was also really sudden because he died at age 60, which is not very old, and he also kind of died of a sudden heart attack. And some people can attribute it to his like crazy lifestyle. So like after he retired from playing, he kind of was known for throwing a lot of parties, doing cocaine, drank a lot. Like he kind of apparently he even played on coke. And the thing is, after he retired from both, like he played, like he did, like he played. He's played for some of the best clubs in the world. He played for Barcelona. He played for Napoli. And he played the Argentina national team, and he won 2 World Cups with them. But he was a coach for a while. His team Boca Juniors was one of the biggest teams in Argentina, and he was known to just be this wild ass coach. And there's been several like incidents where people are like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like he fell over once, just like during like practice. Like he's just like he has a crazy lifestyle. He was into politics too, actually. At one point he was kind of known to be, he was kind of on the left, and he was he was part of like the socialist movements in Argentina. Like he's just like his level of influence, like almost no other players come near it as far as just both on and off the field. But yeah, a lot of people contribute that his death might have been towards his lifestyle. So I don't know. I don't know how much you guys follow soccer like me, but I don't know if, like, do you have any comments on?
I mean, I used to follow soccer a lot. I mean, like growing older, I slowly stopped. It wasn't because I didn't like the sport. It was because I played 3 sports in high school and everything.
Yeah.
So I did football, baseball, and wrestling. So like I followed those sports a lot more often, and then soccer kind of got pushed to the side. But like whenever somebody dies in the sports world, it's always tragic because there's so many people that look up to those people that no matter who it is, like somebody's always going to be impacted. And I remember seeing photos on Instagram and Snapchat of when he had passed away, and there were people literally just like crying in the streets. You know, it was as if like somebody had just lost a family member, which, you know, it's definitely tough. But you know what I mean, like I feel like
Yeah.
that's one good thing that comes out of the sports community, though, that people unite around somebody. You know,
Yeah.
no matter who they are, like the whole sports community can unite around someone.
Yeah, in Argentina, he's literally considered like a national hero to them. Like he's
Yeah.
important as like he's more important probably than most of any president they've ever had. Like as far as his influence and how the country was able to unite around him. Like and like I said, with like his dribbling skills and his passing and like his moves that he's done, he's like revolutionized the game. So,
I actually think like nothing. I agree with you, Steve. I feel like nothing really brings humans together quite like sports. Like
No. Yeah.
you notice it's a global thing that everyone like. There can be countries that absolutely hate each other, but like respect for the same players, kind of like just I don't know. Sports kind of just see through to like they're just like an aspect of the human race that I don't know.
Exactly.
Like everyone kind
it's
of
a universal
loves.
language.
Yeah.
It really
I've
is.
always noticed that, like watching ESPN and like NFL Network, there's just like a universal love for the game and like trying to be great at something.
It's because people always find enjoyment in that stuff, you know, like, you know, no matter what your life situation is, you know, you can pick up like a ball or something, like, you know, like the whole story around like Mariano Rivera and how he started playing baseball with the cardboard box around his hand. You
Yeah,
know, like
Yeah.
he enjoyed doing that, you know, like there's nothing in the world that you can recreate that sports like give you, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
like they give you like just this detachment from everything that's going on and just like this enjoyment for as much time
You're
as you're
also
doing it.
a superhero too. Like if you're in their shoes, which is kind of cool. Like kids
True.
look up to you. Like Make a Wish. Like kids will. You'll always be on like a list if you're good somewhere for a place to be and someone to like cheer up.
It's true.
Yeah.
But Maradona, I don't have much to say other than I know he's they like everyone has like their form of the soccer goat and he's in the discussion broadly. Like a lot of people think he's the greatest of all time. I don't really think
Yeah.
definitively soccer people ever really give me who the goat is because it's so up for debate. But he's in the mix, so I definitely understand why the soccer community misses him.
I'd personally I'd put him as number 3 of all time, I'd say probably. Maybe number 2, actually. I'd put him as 2, honestly, after Pele. But
Pele, yeah.
Pele, even that's up for controversy because they're like he might have been the greatest goal scorer of all time, and he like scored the most and was revolutionary during the time. But he also played for this club, Santos in Brazil. Like they're not a big club compared to like Barcelona or like Napoli or like someone like that. And then also like they said he scored before the offside rule was even a thing. So they're like half of that shit shouldn't count. So
Yeah.
I'd say Maradona definitely because he's a little more modern. He played in the 80s and 90s rather than the 50s and 60s. So I'd say for the more modern contemporary heroes, he's up there. And I'd say the first Ronaldo O Fenomeno's up there, and Ronaldinho's up there too. And then of course Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So yeah. And then
Yeah.
there's just so many though. There's so many legends too. There's
I don't
obviously
really
like
follow
Müller too, Cruyff.
Well, if we
There's,
want to
like,
get in,
plenty.
can we like switch into another soccer topic right before we get off
Yeah.
it? The Premier League, okay? So,
Yeah,
Alex,
sure.
for viewers who actually watch soccer, Alex is an avid Arsenal fan. His club is playing like shit so far this year, and Tottenham, my team that I vaguely
Your
follow,
team,
kind
shut the
of.
fuck up.
Jesus.
Kingman's son.
This kid can't
I
even
like
name
you,
5
dude.
players.
I can name one, okay? I know one.
Name someone besides Hyungmin's son.
I can't. I literally can't.
Shut the fuck up. I can even
And then-
name them, and I fucking hate them all.
So give us the rundown of what's happening in the Premier League before we get off the subject.
So the
'cause-
Premier League, the Premier League is crazy this season. Like it's just really been unpredictable. So Liverpool obviously won last season, even despite the whole coronavirus pandemic. Many people were like, you should cancel the season, but they still went out. They went almost undefeated. Of all fucking teams, Watford beat them last year and ended their undefeated streak. So, which is good because Arsenal's the only fucking team that's ever gone undefeated, and keep that in mind in the Premier League. And So yeah, Liverpool won last year, but this year it looks like they were kind of at a rough start. They didn't do as well, though. They lost some games people didn't think they would lose. Same thing with Man City, which was also one of the teams people thought would be doing pretty well. And yeah, so me personally, the top five, I don't know. Liverpool's in second now. Surprisingly, Tottenham's in first. I mean, they do have Jose Mourinho as their coach, so he's kind of like he's a very good reputation as being a successful coach. Besides when he coached Man United, but it's fucking Man United. So, I would say Pochettino. Sorry, no. Carlo Ancelotti with Everton. They were doing really good, actually, which nobody expected at the beginning of the year. And Leeds United with Marcelo Bielsa, too. They recently went up from the Champions League, from the championship division. They went up to the Premier League, so they've also gone off to a good start. But I think most likely the contenders for championship this year, it's going to be between Liverpool, Chelsea, and maybe Leicester, actually. I'd say they're the three I could see winning it this year. And then I think Arsenal will still make top five, like fourth or fifth place. I don't think Man United will. So I think it's probably going to be either Liverpool or Leicester first, and then third Chelsea, and then fourth Man City, then fifth Arsenal. That's what I see for top fifth. And because I think Spurs will go down again because they started off playing pretty shitty. So, I think they'll go down to sixth.
Oh wait, who's the top seed right now?
Spurs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was recent. We were doing well at the beginning of the season too.
Yeah,
How you doing now?
Trash.
Yeah, dude.
Arsenal's gonna make top five.
Bro,
you heard
you
it
know
here.
who is in the top five? Leicester.
Leicester and Tottenham. Who supports those two teams?
People who don't know shit about soccer.
Bro,
But they do know
James
something about
Madison-
picking teams.
James Madison.
Shut the
fucks
fuck up. You
Arsenal
can't.
up.
He can't name another player besides Heung-min Son. You can't name another player besides James Madison.
There's that guy with the afro.
You probably got lost with all
Yeah,
of what I
that
was
guy's
just
on
saying.
Tottenham too.
He has a darker complexion.
You probably can't even name one new player Leicester got this last season.
Yes, he can.
James
Give him a
Madison.
minute.
He's been there for
Yeah.
a while now. A new
I can
player.
name the whole
that they
Spurs
just signed.
roster.
Who's a new player? Spurs just actually. I don't even know if Spurs signed anyone else. I don't really give a fuck about them, so I don't follow them. But you probably got lost with everything I was just saying.
Bro, Danny Ward.
Dude, I got Gareth Bale right here. Gareth Bale, man.
Kaglar Soyuncu.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Harry Kane.
Turkish dude. He's not new. Cengiz Ünder is a Turkish guy. They just signed.
Joe Hart.
Wes
I got Joe Hart.
Morgan.
Joe Hart's a beast, dude. You can't fuck with Joe Hart, man.
Joe
Dude,
Hart, he was the
Jakubovic.
shit goalie for England. He was dope in Man City, but he was a shit goalie for England. And
Elvin
isn't he on-
Jakubovic. He's
I got Alfie Whiteman and Brandon Austin too for
Are
goalies.
you talking about Spurs right now?
Yeah, Spurs. Yeah.
Joe Hart just recently played. He was fucking playing for Burnley. So if you're signing people from Burnley, you can tell you're a small club. All right, we're not getting into this right
We
now.
don't have to get into this. We can
This
get
is a
off
whole
the
new
subject.
topic, and
Yeah,
Steve's gonna get it. So all right. Are we gonna do any questions from Reddit, or are we gonna leave it out this episode?
Yeah, we can do.
Let's do one.
Let's do one, and then we're done, and then we'll just call it
Okay.
an episode there.
Yeah.
All right, so Steve, we do these questions every week where people ask for advice on a Reddit forum, and then we just answer. So this is the one. All right, friend borrowed money from me and now hates me. My friend continuously borrowed money from me for a year and racked up about $500 worth of debt. Never paid me back, just always made excuses, and I realized that was a huge mistake and I was taken advantage of. I definitely learned my lesson and won't lend money to people again. My problem is that this was one of my close friends and she is extremely rude and acted like I didn't care about her when I politely asked for her back. She hasn't been in touch with me for a week, so I asked her for a third time very nicely and she was still very hostile with an attitude. I expressed to her I want it by the end of the year, and she is saying she doesn't know what I expect because she quit the job we both worked at. I told her I still need it. She took me off of all social media and hates me now. Am I in the wrong for asking, knowing she doesn't have the money right now? I mean, I told her a month ago to figure it out, so what should I do? What do you guys think?
Well,
I
I
like that
mean,
one.
let me think of this. So you said it was $500.
$500, yeah.
So it was $1.37 a day. This girl was going. She could have conceivably just went and bought a coffee every day, wherever the hell they live, with $1.37. So I think that this person can sacrifice their $1.37 every day just to pay back this person, at X date. Like, I mean, like I feel like part of me is like, I'll never take money from someone and not pay them back. Like if I do it, it's usually like next day, like here, you're paid back because like
Yeah,
that's when issues come around. Like I don't think I'd ever accrue $500 in debt from like one of my closest friends. Like unless it
Yeah.
was something major, like I pulled it all at once. Like hey, you want to hook me up and help me out get the new console? Like one of those things. Like, but like I mean like $1.37 a day for a year, I think it's very attainable.
yeah, for sure.
I think it's just Robert Steele's
Oof,
money,
Yeah,
man.
Mike
Mike.
cancer. Mike cancer, bro. Anyway, yeah, I agree. I mean, like, to me, like, honestly, at this point, I would literally like be a douchebag to her and be like, "Give me my fucking money." Like you're treading on thin ice here. Like she's being a dick to you too, like and acting like you're not polite. You gently nudged her a few times and she just ignored you. So like, what did she
Isn't that a
expect?
I'd come take the
Isn't
money
that
back.
above the amount? Like, isn't that above the amount to take somebody to court?
I think it is actually, yeah.
Like, just take her to court.
You know what I would go? I would go over to her apartment and steal a bunch of her shit that I thought added up to $500 and leave.
What if she has nothing worth value?
I know, dude. She's probably like a cat lady. She used it all on cat food.
You probably use it all
Bro,
to
you
buy
could
shit
sell
to make
cat
herself
food.
happy. But she doesn't have anything else to make her happy.
Well, she's huffing the cat food and then she's giving it. To
She just opens the can. It's like,
She's probably sniffing glue. She probably honestly, let's be honest, she probably just bought a Canada Goose jacket with it.
I feel bad for this person though. Like at the same time,
I feel bad for people who wear Canada Goose.
He or she is gonna learn his lesson or their lesson because like this is kind of the risk you run with lending friends money. Is like you don't know if you're gonna get it back. So I mean, use your discretion. It has to be a friend that you know is in a good space.
I would say most friends, like I would trust most of my friends to pay back.
Same, but there are some friends that you know are sketchballs, and you wouldn't really line it
That's
up.
true. I mean, I guess you can learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, I mean that's like the great lesson of this one. Yeah, as much advice as you can give, it's really just like learn your lesson for
That
next
could be
time.
that could be like the lesson of the week as well. Like learn from your mistakes.
All right, I think that's a good one. I didn't really want to go into another one.
All right, well, yeah. I guess that wraps up episode 18 of Straight No Chaser. Thanks so much, Steve, for being our guest today. You were a great guest. I loved our conversation we had tonight.
Sam, this was one of my favorite episodes, actually. I had a really good time tonight.
This was a fun time.
Oh, yeah.
It flowed really well.
Call me back after January 2nd, and maybe I'll have some good things to talk about.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We're recording a new episode this Wednesday, so there'll be a lot of content out soon, so make sure you check it out. Leave us a like and subscribe, and give us a follow on our Instagram. That includes the episode, so take it easy. We'll see you soon.
Peace.
Yes, sir.